Jumoja, radio, podcasts, and news. Greater Somalia. I've read about it. Seen questions asked about a Greater Somalia. Is it possible in the near future? And I decided to dig deep and make my own research. I've talked to people who support a Greater Somalia and people who don't support it. For example, this article that I read from Dr. Jabril Mohammed Ahmed, it supports a Greater Somalia. Dr. Jabril Mohammed Ahmed is an amazing writer. Actually, I read one of his books entitled Somalia, A Road to Democracy, A Journey of Hope and Perseverance. It's a book that I recommend you to read. But I've also read articles, people that are against a Greater Somalia. For example, from Aden Musa Jabril, and also people like Dr. Adal Wasame, who wrote an article in the Somaliland Chronicles entitled Museveni Should Rethink, or Museveni should not promote a Greater Somalia idea. Dr. Adal Wasame is an apologetic Somalilander who is passionate about achieving justice for the forgotten Isaac genocide in Somaliland. All right, let's go back to Greater Somalia. I'm a person who supported it. But after researching and reading, asking many questions, I've come to say a Greater Somalia also is not a great idea. I go with Dr. Adal Wasame. I support Dr. Adal Wasame. I've talked to many people. Some people say Somaliland is a breakaway region. Somaliland is a secessionist movement. It's not true. Do you know that Somaliland gained independence before Somalia? So Somaliland is the older nation than Somalia. And also remember, the Greater Somalia idea has been tried, tested, and it failed. The 30 years period under which Somaliland joined Somalia was one of the most destructive periods in which thousands of people died in the Isaac genocide. Somaliland is not a secessionist movement or a breakaway region of Somalia. History supports this, Dr. Adal Wasame states. Somaliland as a region gained independence before Somalia. Somaliland gained independence from the British, and this makes Somaliland, an older country than Somalia. So anyone who says that Somaliland is not a nation, but history supports this. History and legally, it's incorrect to say Somaliland is a breakaway region of Somalia. Because Somaliland joined Somalia, and remember, Somaliland is older than Somalia as a nation. Greater Somalia, people that support Greater Somalia, no, it's not possible. Because when I talk to people who support Greater Somalia, they always say Somaliland breaking away from Somalia, it will encourage secessionist movement. It will encourage breakaway regions in Africa. But I also ask them, if you support a Greater Somalia, a country that's based on ethnicity, that also will encourage other regions in Africa to do that. For example, the Maasai are based in Kenya and Tanzania. A Greater Somalia will also encourage people in countries like in countries like Kenya and Tanzania, the Maasai, to say, oh no, you know what? We also want independence, an ethnic nation to unite us as Maasai. Do you know that the Luos, for example, are in South Sudan, Ethiopia, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Congo? Oh, it will also encourage those people to say, you know what? We want a nation of a greater Luo nation to bring us Luos together. There are very many people that are divided by borders in Africa. So if you call for Greater Somalia, don't you think it's also going to encourage other regions to seek ethnic nationalism? So anybody who says that a Somaliland breaking away is going to encourage other secessionist movement in Africa, I always ask them, okay, won't also an ethnic nation of Somalia that are divided into other countries going to encourage other, for example, other ethnicity like the Maasai? You understand? The Botswana, the people of Botswana in Botswana and South Africa, what they also seek their own nation. The Fulani in West Africa, they also say, you know what, we want a nation to bring us together. The Oromo are in Kenya and Ethiopia. What they also say, you know what, we want a nation. The Afa in Ethiopia and in Ethiopia, Eritrea and Djibouti. The Afa will also say, you know what, we want our own nation. So anybody who supports Greater Somalia and says that anyone who supports the Greater Somalia and says Somaliland gaining back its independence is going to encourage secessionist movement, you blinded because you only seeing things in one direction. Somaliland again is not a secessionist movement. It's not a breakaway region. It gained independence before, and history and evidence supports this. If you dig deep, you'll understand that Somaliland they need their justice, like Dr. Adali Wasame states in the Somaliland Chronicles article he wrote. So another thing I want to talk about Greater Somalia. To achieve Greater Somalia, it will have to go into war. For example, with Djibouti, Ethiopia, Kenya. It will cause havoc around East Africa, as states by that's how Dr. Adal Wasame states in the Somaliland Chronicles. So, for me, anybody that digs deep into this, you'll understand that Somaliland actually is not a breakaway region. It gained independence. I'll state this again way before Somalia. So, what's your take? I'll appreciate if you leave a comment down there because Somaliland that has tried this Somaliland great idea. It failed miserably. You understand? Actually, also Dr. Adal Wasame states Somaliland has a different type of culture and mentality compared to Somalia, compared to Mogadishu. Hargeisa has a different type of mentality compared to Mogadishu. For example, let me tell you, Somaliland has a long history of being a sovereign nation. Modern days, Somalia is a successor of famous Adal Kingdom, Somaliland. You see, Somaliland is not Somaliland is not Somalia. Different histories are incompatible. Cultural values, similarities also have been different from Somalia. Okay, so for me, what I want to conclude with is I always supported the Greater Somalia. But after reading Dr. Adal Wasame and many more articles and talking to people, I think a Greater Somalia is a dangerous idea. And in the end, I supported Dr. Adal Wasame. A Greater Somalia was tested and failed miserably. You know what happened. So why don't we leave Somaliland gain their independence? Actually, Somaliland gaining their independence, it will be the best thing for the region. Under the Freedom Index, Somaliland has one of the best democracies in East and Central all over Africa, actually. So, why don't we leave Somaliland, a country that is functioning properly, is peaceful, everybody is welcome, people go there to work from Kenya, Uganda, and they feel safe. So, why don't we support we shouldn't support a Greater Somalia, but we should support a Somaliland independence because a better Somalia, if Somaliland gains independence, it will be a successful journey that other people are going to learn from. There's more to learn from Somaliland than to learn from Somalia. How would Somalia, that want a greater nation that has failed themselves, they have failed. Somalia has failed, but Somalia wants a greater Somalia. How are they even going to manage the whole Greater Somalia? Won't it cause more wars? So in the end, I'm against the Greater Somalia, and I stand with Dr. Adal Wasame, and I support a Somaliland independence. Sorry if I hurt you, and I'll appreciate if you leave a comment that's respectful. Bye bye.